Hello, my name is Darcy Demery, and today I will be presenting to you on ransomware. Ransomware is a form of cyber attack. It occurs when hackers infiltrate a computer system and encrypt files until a ransom is paid. This means that no one can access the files until the fee is paid. The fee is usually an extremely exorbitant amount that many facilities cannot afford. Even when a ransom is paid, it does not guarantee against future attacks. There are two main forms of ransomware. The first is the type that encrypts files. The second creates a locker around the system that keeps anyone from accessing the files within. Hackers can gain access to even the most protected networks if an unsuspecting employee clicks on a malicious link or a document on a website or in their email. They can also gain access through plugins such as Flash Player or Java. While virtually any company with an electronic equipment and data can fall victim to ransomware, healthcare facilities are especially vulnerable. Compared to other major industries, healthcare systems are twice as likely to have Flash installed and 3 times as likely to have Java installed, two plugins that can be exploited by hackers. These security concerns leave both the organization and the consumer particularly vulnerable. So when did ransomware become a concern? The first ransomware attack was in December of 1989. The virus was called the AIDS Trojan. The virus was transmitted via a floppy disk, and it locked the owner's computer from accessing anything on it until a fee was paid. Ransomware attacks died down for a time and then reappeared between 2005 and 2008. The ransomware during this time still required a computer user to initiate the file downloads, and as news spread of these attacks, computer owners became more aware of suspicious links and files. There have been many famous ransomware attacks in recent history. I will highlight a few of them here, but keep in mind there are countless attacks happening around the world daily. Technology is constantly evolving, and hackers are always finding new ways to gain access to networks. Revitin. Revitin was a 2012 virus that created a locker around a computer's files. Some agencies were able to remotely remove the locker so that the files inside could be safely extracted from the computer. Its ransom note took the form of a false message that claimed it was from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the owner had committed a cybercrime. It stated that a one-time fee of $200 would release the owner from any prosecution. CryptoLocker was created in 2013. This virus was more invasive in that it actually encrypted a user's files, so there was no way around the lockout. It was initiated from false links for package tracking information. WannaCry is a virus that contains a worm component. It attempts to exploit vulnerabilities in the Windows server to remotely compromise systems, encrypt files, and spread to other hosts. In 2017, this virus affected more than 200,000 computers in at least 100 countries. It gained access to computers through outdated operating systems such as Windows XP. It resulted in the cancellation of thousands of appointments and operations and caused many patients to have to travel further for emergency care. Just last year, a local ear, nose, and throat specialist, or ENT office, fell victim to ransomware. Brookside ENT and Hearing Center in Battle Creek, Michigan was advised by the FBI not to pay the requested $6,500 ransom and lost all of their patients' medical records. The FBI told the practice that there was no guarantee they would receive their files back and nothing to say they would not be able to be attacked again in the future, and so the office was forced to close instead. So why is ransomware concerning? Healthcare facilities can lose valuable records. Patients may not be able to receive much needed treatments, and personal health information can be used for other crimes such as identity theft. There are also potential safety implications. Primary care providers cannot make safe and effective plans of care for patients without all of the necessary medical history. Patients may be unable to seek medical care at the closest emergency room, or ER, if the facility is affected by ransomware. They may lose precious minutes traveling to another ER further away. Medical records contain medication records, which can be deadly if a wrong medication or wrong dose is given. Surgeons and staff rely on records to perform procedures correctly and safely. If part or all of a patient's record is unavailable, they cannot perform life-saving surgeries. As mentioned before, ransomware causes a huge loss of data for a healthcare facility. Medical records contain sensitive personal health information, or PHI, that can be used to steal a patient's identity. This can cause financial ruin for a patient if credit cards or loans are assumed using their identity. Patients trust healthcare facilities to safeguard their personal health information. Employees at healthcare facilities agree to do all they can to keep information private, but they may still demonstrate risky internet browsing or use work emails for potentially insecure websites. A facility might face an ethical dilemma when asked to pay a ransom for patient files. If a facility pays the hacker, gets what they want, and there's no guarantee they won't impregnate the release files with a virus for future attacks. If the facility chooses not to pay, then there are many losses. Firstly, the patient loses because now their files are available to the hacker to sell their information to identity thieves. The facility also loses because it must shut down and incurs a continued loss of revenue. Healthcare facilities can be sued by patients for not protecting their personal information. Patients are protected not only under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, but also the Patient Safety and Quality Improvement Act, PSQIA, and Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act, or HITECH. The PSQIA of 2005 provided a safe way for facilities to disclose medical errors with the intent to improve patient safety and quality of care. HITECH Act of 2009 benefits and protects patients because it creates a way for healthcare providers to share patient information along the continuum of care while simultaneously making the recipients of that information liable to follow HIPAA regulations. It increased money penalties for breaches, defined a breach standard, and prohibited the use of genetic information for underwriting purposes by insurance companies. Employees who practice risky internet behaviors are also a legal liability to the healthcare facility. There are ways to improve security in an attempt to protect healthcare facility from ransomware attacks. They include both technological safeguards and proper employee training. We will examine these in detail. 4 technical safeguards for PHI are control access, audits, integrity, and transmission. Control access means the facility requires passwords for internet, computers, and software access. Audits are mechanisms installed to examine and record activity. Audits are useful in the investigation of breaches and misuse. Integrity means the facility implements policies against unauthorized changes or destruction of health information. Transmission protection means the facility implements and maintains up-to-date antivirus softwares, firewalls, and encryption to fortify the network against hacker breaches. Required training should include that facilities conduct initial and yearly HIPAA trainings with all employees. Employees should be trained that the sharing of passwords is prohibited. Lastly, the facility should conduct occasional testing to ensure employees remain vigilant against phishing emails that contain malicious file attachments or links. Ransomware can take the form of many different harmful computer viruses. It can pose a dangerous threat to safety and security of a healthcare organization and its patients. Healthcare facilities and their employees have an ethical obligation to ensure PHI is protected. There can be financial and legal repercussions following a ransomware attack. There is still much work to be done in order to reduce the risk of ransomware attack on healthcare. Meaningful and effective progress in fighting cyber threats will require leaders to reconsider and reimagine a different system, ready to face the risks and rewards of an electronic world. Thank you.